Hey everyone, Josh from Seattle Coffee Gear here. Today we're doing a deep dive into variable temp gooseneck kettles. We've gotten a whole bunch of questions. Why would you pick one over the other? Why is the Stagg so pretty? We have 4 of our top kettles from Bonavita, Brewista, Fellow, and Oxo, and we'll be covering things like speed, fit and finish, and capacity. So let's dive right in. For those of you who have never used a variable temp or a gooseneck kettle at all, they're primarily designed for pour-overs, like your Chemex or V60 Kalita Wave. And the idea is that the gooseneck of the kettle itself restricts flow so that you can more accurately pour. The other nice thing is that these are all variable temp, so you can set the temperature exactly to what you want to brew at. So say 201 or 202 degrees. They also all have a pretty standard capacity. They're all at 1 liter except for the Brewista, which is at 1.2. It's a little bit bigger. And that's just the right size for either a single cup or a small carafe of coffee for you or 2 or 3 people. That's really where the similarities end though. The first one we're going to be covering is the Bonavita, which was the first consumer variable temp kettle that was on the market. And it's pretty basic as far as features go. So if you're really just looking for pour and temp accuracy, it's an excellent choice. Controls include temp up or down, choosing Fahrenheit or Celsius, and a hold function. It is worth mentioning though that compared to the other 3, the fit and finish on the Bonavita kettle is not quite as nice. It definitely has cast lines in the plastic, and the pour spout is a little bit faster than the other 3 options. That said, it is entirely stainless steel on the inside, and while the screen is pretty basic, it's really easy to read. All in all, this is your basic budget, no frills option for a gooseneck kettle. Next up in our list of variable temp kettles is the Brewista kettle. If you think it looks just like the Bonavita, you'd be mostly right. The original designer, who worked for Bonavita at the time, left and started his own company called Brewista, and he sort of refined the ideas that originally made it into the first kettle with the Brewista kettle. Some notable changes include that it has a larger capacity at 1.2 liters, slightly better pour tip, so you get a little bit more accuracy, and it's a little slower than the original Bonavita. If you take a look at the front panel of the Brewista kettle, you'll notice that it is very similar to the Bonavita with the addition of a programming button. The nice thing about this, and this is the only kettle on the market that does so, is that you can set an auto on time. So you can have the water in your kettle up to temp before you're even ready to brew, which is a fantastic addition and something that we wish more kettles had. Overall fit and finish is slightly improved over the Bonavita kettle. It's definitely heavier because of the added capacity though. So if your arms get tired easily or you have trouble controlling a regular gooseneck kettle, the extra size on the 1.2 liter may not be for you. Next up on our list is the Fellow EKG. This is a new kettle on the market. It was just released at the end of 2017. And this guy is a very big departure from the original 2 kettles that we've already covered. And I honestly think it looks and functions fantastically. I really love the sort of attention to detail and the analog style of control. It's got a jog dial and a really small low profile screen, and it has analog switches hidden on the back for both holding temp and setting Fahrenheit or Celsius. They borrowed the shape and design of the kettle from their original Stagg, which was a stovetop model, and it has a much smaller profile than either of the other 2 kettles, but still manages to hold 1 liter in capacity, and is all stainless on the inside, including an insulated lid, so you're unlikely to burn yourself there. That said, you are definitely paying a premium for the design. The Stagg EKG is the most expensive variable temp kettle that we carry. At that price point, it does still have some really small fit and finish issues, like sharp edges on the handle and exposed metal pieces that can be very hot to the touch. All in all though, a fantastic entry into the gooseneck pour-over space with a fantastic design that definitely does stand out from any of the competition. Last but not least, we have the Oxo variable temp kettle. This guy is also new in 2017, and we were honestly quite surprised at how good it was. Design-wise, it shares a lot of familiarity with the Stagg kettle. It has an inbuilt screen with a scroll wheel adjustable temp setting. It also has a really good fluted pour spout, which helps with control, and is all stainless on the inside, but has silicone matting on the top and handle to sort of insulate against heat. That said, we did find that the silicone picked up dust and dirt more than any of the other finishes, so that's something to be aware of. Another sort of noticeable con on the OXO kettle is the high wattage that it pulls on your circuit. It's rated at 1500 watts, which is, right at the limit of most house circuits. And if you have any other electronics plugged in, you may find that it pops your breaker and you need to reset it. We actually ran into some trouble testing it because we had it on the same circuit as an espresso machine, which did not work out well at all. The reason that it has such a high wattage is because it is stupid fast. It heats from room temperature to 205 degrees in right under 4 minutes. We drink a lot of coffee in the office. We do a lot of coffee sampling with our machines. And we find that when we do pour overs, the speed and the otherwise great fit and finish and features of the OXO really make it our go-to kettle of choice. The Stagg EKG is no slouch either. It is a 1200 watt heating element that is less likely to trip your breakers, but still heats water at a very respectable 5 minutes for a liter to 205 from room temp. Then we come to the Brewista. It's definitely a little bit slower and it starts to become more noticeable. Just under 6 minutes to heat the same volume of water to 205 degrees. Finally, the Bonavita kettle. This guy just really took a long time to heat water. It was nearly 7 minutes to heat a liter of water to 205 degrees. So you'll find that all 4 of these kettles will really improve your pour overs. Simply because of the temp accuracy and the accuracy of your pours. That said, both the OXO and the Stagg kettle had a feature so good we didn't know we wanted it until we had it, and that is that it auto holds temp when it reaches your setting. Say you're heating to 202 degrees to do a pour over. When both these kettles hit 202, they auto hold for about 30 minutes. It's also worth noting that when you actually go to pour and then put it back down onto the base, both will retain your heat setting. And you don't have to do anything else. It just immediately picks back up. Make sure your temp is stable, which when you're doing, say, 3 or 4 pour overs at a time, like we often do in the office, is a fantastic feature. That's it for our variable temp kettle roundup. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and we'll see you all next time.